Welcome to the Journey of Becoming. I'm your host, Karrie Mitten. Before we get started, a quick question. Are you ready to break through to your next level? Uplevel Your Life Consulting is where executive success meets soul-aligned strategy. If you're a high-performing professional or an entrepreneur who's accomplished a lot, but deep down knows there's more clarity, more impact, more freedom, more you, then this is your moment. Our executive coaching is for leaders who are ready to break the cycle of burnout and overgiving, craving a sustainable, joyful path forward aligned with their truth, committed to honoring their energy and leading from authenticity, not hustle. Looking for a trusted transformational guide who understands how to create success from a place of alignment and intention. With personalized coaching, mindfulness based practices, and deep vision work, we don't just scratch the surface. We go deep to help you reconnect with who you really are and build a life that supports your well being. This isn't about doing more, it's about creating success that feels like home. Let's talk about what's possible for you. Book a free clarity call today and let's create a bold vision for your next level of becoming. Visit www.uplevelyourlifeconsulting.com to schedule your call today because you didn't come this far to only come this far. And now, on with the show. So today we have with us Ramona Crabtree-Falkner, founder of Authentic Life Journey, a coaching and wellness business that helps professional women move through burnout, overwhelm, and self-doubt by reconnecting with their authentic selves. Through coaching, retreats, and mindfulness-based practices, she has over 20 years of holistic wellness experience. Ramona's work is rooted in helping women reclaim their energy and create lives of balance and purpose. After her own journey through burnout and transformation, she now teaches others to lead from authenticity instead of hustle. Her story is a powerful reminder that you can build a thriving business and a fulfilled life without sacrificing your well being. So, Ramona, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Carrie.
Awesome. I'm so excited to have you here. And I just loved, obviously, we are very much in alignment in who we serve and where we came from and all of that good stuff.
Hmm.
So I would love to start at the beginning. And, every transformation starts with a turning point. So share with me where you were when you decided to move into into coaching, or maybe what the decision was in your life. And the moment that you realized that you were doing something different.
So I think that I've had layers. I like to
Yes.
say that happens in layers, right? So I think my very first nudges that there was bigger purpose was back in 2012 when I had to have my thyroid removed.
Hmm.
I had a tumor on it, and basically they were like, "Yep, this is something that you're just going to have to remove this organ because we can't remove the tumor." And ultimately, it was the right decision. Once they had the evaluation and everything afterward, it was precancerous. So, at the end of the day, divine intervention came in and said, "Here's this thing to help you shift." And so, since I work with energetics, the thyroid is aligned to your throat chakra. So this was all about, am I living out my truth out loud? Am I being authentically me? So I believe that was probably the initial nudge.
Hmm.
And then it wasn't until 2016 that I actually launched my first coaching program. And again, things have evolved over time. And then 3 years ago, I went on a retreat in Greece. And that was probably the next big key for where I am now. So it
Hmm.
was 3 years ago that I decided to begin the process of the pivot that I am now living.
Okay.
And, so that experience was this moment of finding parts of myself that I didn't know I had or didn't have access to.
Hmm.
And upon finding them, I was like, I want to be in this all the time. So yeah, I believe that was those two moments are probably the most significant moments in my journey to where I am now. And
Well,
currently, it's taken 3 years of shedding and finding and exploring and expanding and doing all the uncomfortable things that I ask others to do,
Mhm,
to be where I am today with the work I'm doing. Hmm.
mhm. And I love, and I mean, I don't, I shouldn't, I guess love is not the right word, but how you brought out the fact that you were in this field, you were doing energy work, you
Hmm.
were doing, holistic things, and yet there was still a calling for more.
Hmm.
And,
Yep.
we have, I believe we have four bodies, the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, and the
Hmm.
physical. And if we don't take care of the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, it manifests in the physical, and that's what
Hmm.
happened. And so
Yep.
this, so what I love hearing is that even though we're in this work and when we are aligned with our spirit, there's
Hmm.
we can still have the manifestation of underlying
Hmm.
things, right,
Yeah.
going on. I mean,
Yeah.
coaches are humans, spiritual beings having a human
Hmm.
experience,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I love that. I love that. And so the universe really spoke to you and said, okay, this is a sign. This is a movement in a different direction. I
Hmm.
love
Yeah.
that. I love
And
that.
I think that that's the human condition, right? As long as you're living, you're given the opportunity to grow. And
Mhm.
even though I honored the call to move into the holistic wellness field, I was still healing. I was still, and I still am today. I don't think that we are
Absolutely.
ever free of that. And so it's really more about whether or not we're present with it and we're being a witness to it and a participant with it.
Mhm. Mhm.
I always say to my clients, you're either actively or passively manifesting your life. Which one do you want?
Mhm. Right. Right.
The passive manifestation is by living in the old paradigms, living in the old beliefs, living in the programming.
Mhm.
And the active is intentionally deciding where you're putting your energy and driving everything towards that. And even while you're doing that, you
Mhm.
will still come across the opportunities for growth.
Absolutely. And that's
Hmm.
why I call this the journey of becoming, because we're always
Hmm.
becoming. We never have
Yeah.
arrived, right? And and I love how you talk about the fact that we are moving through or we're staying stuck, right? And we can
Hmm.
decide. I often share with my clients, there's a Bible passage that says, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death," right? And the key terminology is there, walk through, not pitch a
Hmm.
tent, right? And
Yeah.
recognize that that's going on. Yeah. So you had the thyroid
Hmm.
challenge, and then that pivoted you to move into more coaching rather than
Hmm.
doing the hands-on yoga and other energy work. Is that correct?
Hmm. Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you decided, what made you decide to go to Greece?
It was just a call from my soul, and I listened.
Mm-hmm.
And that's honestly, by the time that happened, that's where I was living always from that 2012 moment forward, was when I have a very specific, nudge.
Mm-hmm.
It is take action or reap the rewards of not taking the action.
Yes,
And
yes.
so, that to me is about really the development of listening and honoring the intuitive knowing. When I don't honor what it is that I'm being guided towards, it always then turns into more chaos
Mm-hmm.
before there's any sense of peace, essentially. So, for instance, I have a situation I'm working in today where I kind of had an expectation, which, that's on me for having expectation, but the initial response from this person triggered my nervous system. And so I went, okay, that's a message. Let's step
Mm-hmm.
back and ask the questions that need to be asked and have peace with the outcome, regardless. Because at the end of the day, if my nervous system is triggered, that's part of my messaging.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of spirit saying, hey, so maybe you need to witness this and observe it and evaluate what's the right thing forward. Because if I just say, okay, I'm going to accept what this outcome is, and
Hmm.
not ask a question, then where am I going to be a month or two from now? Am I going to be frustrated? Is my ego going to be losing its mind?
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's really about becoming so connected to, as you said, those four bodies: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Which one of those is speaking to you is up to you to start tuning into. And so my frequency level is only as high as my awareness level.
Hmm. Hmm.
So if my awareness level is low, then my frequency is low.
Hmm.
And if my awareness level is high, then my frequency is high. And
Hmm.
so that lower frequency causes density, it causes discomfort, it causes me to be reactive and very ego driven. Whereas the higher frequency is lighter, it's more aligned to my authentic truth, it's more aligned to listening to the divine guidance and intuitive nudges that I'm getting.
Hmm.
So I listen.
Yeah, yeah, and it's so and that's so vitally important, right? Because and we really have to understand what we're listening to, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to coach a professional woman who's in the middle of making a decision, how
Mm-hmm.
would you align her to make that decision?
Well, the the number one tool is awareness. The number two is get quiet.
Hmm.
If you can't get quiet, you can't find the answer, because that answer is not coming from the logical mind. It's coming from the intuitive brain.
Hmm.
And the intuitive brain is subtler. It's simpler. It's not in your face, and it absolutely doesn't always make sense. So just because I am saying yes to something, um, doesn't mean that anyone outside of me will look at it and go, well, that makes sense. They may look at me and go, what do you mean you're jumping on a plane to go to Greece all by yourself? What are
Hmm.
you doing?
Hmm.
Like that's the truth, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Is how do I want to show up?
Hmm. Yeah, and you know, so many women they listen to the opinion and the approval of other people. They ask other
Mm-hmm.
people, outside influences, right before they make
Mm-hmm.
a decision. And in reality, we are 100% responsible for our results. Nobody else is
Mm-hmm.
responsible for our
Yeah,
results, right? So why
100%.
are we
Mm-hmm.
asking outside sources when we have all the answers right within us? And I love what you said about frequency because, you know, you can ask a question, you can have a problem, but the answer, the solution doesn't come at the frequency of the question or the problem, right? You got to come from
Mm-hmm.
the frequency of the
Yep.
solution. What would
Yep.
I love, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and so making decisions or, you know, throughout the day, excuse me, I have a little tickle in my throat. Making the decisions throughout the day, you know, if you're at work and maybe you're the boss and you're, you know, you've got, you know, somebody calling you about HR issue and you've got to, you know, take care of payroll things and da 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 da. Da. You know, your like you said, your nervous system is in that fight,
Mm-hmm.
flight, or freeze, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you tend to react from there. And if you just
Yep.
pause and be still, like you said, and take
Mm-hmm.
a breath and allow your bloodstream to be reoxygenated,
Mm-hmm.
right? Open up the blood flow, right? Lubricate the joints and muscles. Send oxygenated blood to your brain. You're going to be open to receiving even more answers than what you ever thought you
Mm-hmm.
could in the past.
Yep.
And you'll lean into more of, you know, what is life giving rather than life sucking. Yeah.
Right.
Uh,
Exactly.
what do you do, Ramona, when fear and doubt creep in?
Well, I look at it straight in the face. I journal it out. I get it out of my head so that it actually has a life, because when it's in my head, it's just noise.
Hmm.
When I can give it a form, which in written word, it's a it is a form,
Hmm.
because then I can read those words and really ask questions as I'm reading them, versus letting my very chaotic mind run me in all the places that could be problematic,
Hmm.
instead of finding myself into the space of recognizing that that everything is able to be figured out.
Hmm.
Everything has
Yeah.
a solution. It's
Yeah.
a choice that I have to make.
Hmm.
And that choice is based on what is aligned to my truth.
Hmm.
And so if I make a choice and I have to accept the outcome of said choice, it's not necessarily comfortable,
Hmm.
but it's aligned. And so for me, it all comes back to alignment. If something is not in alignment for my being, my whole being, then it's a no.
Hmm.
It's just a no.
Hmm.
So doing that means I have to get real with what it is that is causing the fear or worry to show up. What is it that I'm trying to control? What is it that I am feeling I have an expectation of that didn't come out the way I expected it to, right? So those attachments then have to be given attention so that I can evaluate if I need to make a change.
Hmm.
And so at the end of the day, that's all that life is one choice after another.
Hmm.
I just have to make the choices that are aligned to Ramona
Hmm. Hmm.
and her higher good
Hmm.
versus what anyone else wants of me. And
Right.
that is a really hard concept for especially the women that I work with to wrap their head around sometimes
Hmm. Hmm.
because they're so used to doing the opposite, which
Hmm.
is what do I need to do to make sure everybody else is good and happy and peaceful and blah, 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 blah.
Hmm.
And really, what we need to be saying is, okay, what do I need in this situation for me to be good and happy and peaceful?
Hmm. Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. And I
Mm-hmm.
like what you said where, you look fear right in the face, right? Because um typically, fear, it doesn't mean that you can't do it. It just means that you never have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you look at fear and you decide, okay, am I going to do this with fear, or am I going to put fear? I mean, I guess everything on my journey of becoming, up leveling to my next level of who I'm becoming, there's going to be some fear involved, right? And I
Yep.
I like to say, I'm gonna shake its hand and put it in the passenger
Mm-hmm.
seat, knowing that it's coming with
Yep.
me, right? Because I'm really on my green growing edge here. I'm on the verge of what I haven't done yet, right? And of
Mm-hmm.
course there's going to be fear, right? But
Yep.
so many times in my own life, I've done things with fear, and it's easy to look back and go, "Oh, that wasn't so bad."
Mm-hmm.
But when you look forward and you go, "You know what?
Mm-hmm.
This isn't going to be so bad. I get to decide that." And
Right.
you have
Well,
the choice.
and I think another thing is with fear is when I look back and see everything I've accomplished,
Uh-huh.
and then I can say, well, if it all worked out then, it's going to work
Hmm.
out now.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's just again, it's the energy that you're approaching something with. I can either approach it from that lower frequency,
Yeah.
or I can observe that lower frequency and ask myself, do I want to give my power to that, or do I want to align my energy and my beliefs and my vision and everything to what I know is possible. And I
Hmm.
think that that's one of my greatest gifts as a healer, as a guide, as a coach is every single person I come in contact with, I can absolutely without a doubt see the potential. I
Oh,
see
yeah.
all of their potential. And it has been one of my greatest struggles in life to allow people to get there on their own. And so I think through coaching, it has helped me have a way to do that, help me have a way to allow them to get to their potential when and if they choose to.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so it's the same for me.
Hmm.
Like I have unlimited potential.
Hmm.
I have unlimited potential. And
Hmm.
so a lot of the work that I've done over the 3 years in this pivot was shedding a lot of the limiting beliefs around what's possible
Hmm.
and And right now, the vision that I've been holding and working towards for 3 years is so tactile, even though it's not formed in physical form right now. It's so tactile that I have to talk to my ego and remind my ego that it will come in perfect timing. Like it doesn't matter, it already exists.
Right.
The space between me now and me then is just part of being in the 3D world.
Yeah. It's the gap to
So,
first. Yeah. Yeah.
right.
Absolutely.
So it's about trusting that every single step that is being taken, even the ones that feel a little bit heavy or messy, are part of what has to occur in order for that next arrival to occur.
Yeah.
And it will. And it
Yeah.
will. And so again, when we can hold the vision, we can be the vision, we can align to the vision, we can sense the vision, and we're not questioning whether it's possible. We are absolutely in that space of this is, it just is.
Hmm.
Then it's really about just
Hmm.
reining in the chaos of the mind and staying present with today's step because
Right.
that's the one I have control over.
Right. Yeah. Beautiful. So tell us, what's your next level of becoming? What's on the next path for Ramona?
So I have some really amazing things that are on the horizon right now. And it's been in the last, I would say, 4 weeks that the containers, guess I have three very specific containers for my business, but those three very specific containers finally they all gelled. Like I had this one container that I was like, how am I going to bring this container in to match the frequency of the other two? Because the other two were clear, like the frequency was clear. I know exactly what I'm doing with them. I feel really confident in them. And then the third container, I was just kind of like, I don't know, because my who I speak to is that professional woman that's
Mhm.
overwhelmed, stressed, burnt out, stuck.
Mhm.
That's who I'm speaking to, and that is who is finding me. And so that third container wasn't matching that frequency yet, and then it finally did.
Ah.
And so with that, I can say without a doubt that my next moments are just about being in the flow with it and
Mhm.
allowing myself to um, step in where stepping in is called for and trusting in that process. So for me, that next level is really about the trust,
Mhm.
just trusting it all.
Mhm. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, I mean it's taking that step when not hoping that the net will appear, but knowing that the net will
Mm-hmm,
appear. Yeah, beautiful.
mm-hmm.
So looking back at everything that you've gone through to get where you are today, what's one piece of advice that you'd love to give our listeners as they are on their journey of becoming?
Um, I would say don't try to rush through the mess.
Mm.
I know that that is easier said right now than done. The mess is actually where the magic is.
Mm.
It's where the glimmers of what's to come
Mhm.
are being shown to us. And when we let our ego get frustrated or overwhelmed or pushing or fighting or what have you, because it's not working out the way we want it to, it's messy.
Mhm.
Uh, that's when we really, really need to bring ourselves back to, okay, what is the purpose of this
Mhm.
in the bigger vision?
Mhm.
And when we can be more present with all of the parts of the journey, the gold is found much more quickly.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I say my mess is my message, right?
Uh-huh.
It's in
Yeah.
the mess is in the message. So yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your incredible journey with us, Ramona.
Yeah.
It's been
Thank you.
such a pleasure, hearing about your breakthroughs, your lessons that you learn along the way. I'm sure our listeners are going to feel inspired to take bold action and to really lean in as well in their own lives. So before we wrap up, where can our listeners connect with you and learn more about your work?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me at authenticlifejourney.com. And there's all kinds of information there, but I really love to be in communion with women that are ready to level up and just
Mhm.
step in and rise into their power.
Yeah.
So, if this is something that you're feeling the call to, I would love to have a conversation.
Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. Well, thank you again for being here today. I know your story is going to leave our listeners feeling empowered to take that action. So, for everybody tuning in, remember your journey of becoming starts with one brave step. So, take that step today. Until next time, keep embracing your transformation.